Okay, so welcome back to the fundamentals to gain inner peace. We're up to session number 12. And tonight we're going to be learning a little bit about our thoughts. The topic is that you are not your thoughts. Now, for many people, it's an interesting idea. What do you mean I'm not my thoughts? I'm the one who's thinking my thoughts. So let's get started. So before we start, let's check in, get grounded, take a deep breath, and practice what we preach to see where we are, our environment around us, and then to look inside how we feel, our moods, our feelings, and give yourself the permission to be here for a little bit for yourself. And I want to take a moment to reflect on the past week. And it's just a good way how to start to see our thoughts of just take a moment to reflect how was Hanukkah. For many people, it was great. For others, maybe a challenge. Everybody's different. So just take a deep breath, think how it was for you. And you might come up with both positives and negatives, which that's usually the healthy way, because only positive is probably not so realistic. And there's things that work out and things that don't work out. So take a moment. And I would like to thank you all that sent feedback. For those who practice, whether it's the havening technique, the tapping, to see how it works, what it brings up, when it doesn't work, just becoming aware of where we are and the thoughts that we're going to be talking tonight. One second. So here we go. Before we get into our thoughts, the truth is that everybody has a story, their own story, the way you look at yourself. And it could be you're going around with the story for many, many years. And you don't have to know exactly where it comes from, but from whatever experiences we had in the past, that's usually the way we're shaped, the way we look at ourselves, and that's who we are. And if we're looking for any change, to make any changes, if there are things that we don't like, or we want to do something, feel different, to make any changes, you first have to become aware of how you feel and what the thoughts that you're telling yourself. Now, if you think about it, we wake up in the morning with the same thoughts. The way we look at ourselves, we know ourselves to be a certain type, what we do or what we don't do. And that's the way we wake up in the morning, and that's what we do. And every day we do the same thing. The thoughts that we have, the beliefs about ourselves, and that's how we go with our day. If there's something irking or we're nervous about something, then we wake up in the morning and you feel it, you think about it, either you do something about it or you don't, but that's how our day goes, and usually it's the same with the same ideas. So if we're looking to change, it really starts off with realizing what our thoughts are, how we think about ourselves and about the situation, so that we can make a little bit of changes. It could be things that happen when we're very young, and if it's negative, what happens, it becomes a memory. And every time that thing comes up, that memory comes up, we feel that same way. And then we start feeling, let's say we feel anxious about something. So our beliefs, we start believing that we're an anxious person. And it goes so far that it can become even a personality. We start thinking that I'm always stressed or I'm anxious. And that's who I am. Well, you're going to tell me I could maybe relax and be different, but that's who I am. But we don't realize that really it comes from a memory about ourselves. Either something happened, somebody told us something. It could be our social environment. It can be sometimes parents. It can be teachers. The way they look at us, something that they tell us, we accept. And then when things come up similar, we always go back to that memory. And it could be very deep. It could be subconscious or unconscious. So to tap into our unconscious mind is really our body. If sometimes you're sitting and you're anxious, or you start feeling nervous, tense, you're not sure why, there's that you call the mind of your unconscious mind is really consciously you can't figure it out. You're not sure why you feel that way, but your body feels something. So your body is a mind of its own. That's the subconscious mind. And we're going to have to get a little bit in touch, going a little bit deeper eventually. But it's some thought of whether it's something going on in the day, something you have to do, or about yourself. And you don't always know what it is. But if you feel that way, it's probably a thought behind it. And it usually starts with a thought. And that's just a good awareness to see how you feel. Even though in your mind you think, wait, there's nothing much going on, everything's pretty good, I'm okay. But if you feel tense in your body, then there probably is something going on. Just a second. Oh, very important concept. That the subconscious, the unconscious, doesn't know the difference between real events or a thought. So that means that if you're thinking about something, what happened, even if it's a while ago, your subconscious lives as if it's happening now. And that could be the reason why you're feeling a certain way. For let's say an example, you have to meet your boss and discuss something with them. So that can bring up different things. And even if consciously you think you have it planned out, you know what's going on. But if subconsciously in your body, you're feeling something, your subconscious doesn't know the difference if it's a thought or if it's actually happening. So if we think these thoughts, your body is actually reliving certain ideas, certain memories that has happened in the past. It could be beliefs about yourself, but it's like living there. You might tell yourself, it's I might be thinking about it, but why do I feel this way? Because they don't know, the subconscious doesn't know the difference. If your thought is there, you probably feel that way. So that's why, if you're not aware consciously of the thought, but you feel it in your body, that's because there's something going on, and it's as if you're reliving it. This is the basic CBT to realize how these things work. This is the cycle of our results. You can look around in your life, what my life looks like, what my day looks like. It brings up certain thoughts about the situation, about yourself, and automatically you start feeling based on what you're thinking, and that's the action you're going to do. So let's think of an example of you have to go to the boss, ask for a raise. Now, in your mind, you might be thinking already that he doesn't want, negative thoughts come up, and you start feeling nervous. Sometimes the action would be that you're not even going to go. And the truth is, you can look around in your everyday life, things that you do. The things that you don't do or you procrastinate is probably because of this cycle. You have a certain thought or a feeling, and that's the action you take. We don't want to find ourselves in a situation that's uncomfortable. So what we're going to do is try to avoid, and we might even tell ourselves that I'm fine, it's good, I don't need that raise. Or certain things that we do, it could be even looking for jobs, certain things that you do, or certain things that you don't do. Who made that decision? Why do you think A is for you and B is not for you? Where does it come from? Why do you think that way? So it could be looking at yourself, like seeing the results around you, seeing how what you do during the day. The thought, you might be thinking that you're not capable, or something that's not for you. And if we bring up that idea, if somebody asks you, why don't you do A, B, and C, you get nervous, you say, no, it's not for me, and you're not going to go there. So basically our actions, everyday actions, we usually go where we feel comfortable, our comfort zone, things that we're familiar, but we're not going to go to places that we're not comfortable, and go out of our comfort zone, start new things, new ideas, probably because we don't think it's going to work out. So that's the thought, and we don't feel good about it, so we don't take the action. That's the negative cycle. So now we have to become aware of this. What we're going to be working today is to be able to detach from those thoughts. We have a lot of thoughts during our day, and most of us live with those thoughts about ourselves and believe that it's who I am. But here we go. You have a mind, but you have to remember that you are not your mind. You have a brain, but you're not your brain. You have thoughts, but you're not those thoughts. If somebody doesn't realize this concept, the inability to acknowledge that could be living in a prison, locked up, the way you think, the way it is, this is how it's going to stay, and very hard to have any change in life. But if you're able to acknowledge this idea, then you can slowly become free and say, wait a second, maybe I can try something new, maybe I can grow. We need to detach from these ideas. So the question is, if I have a mind and I'm not my mind, so then who am I? So that is a great question, and we're not going to discuss it too much tonight, who you are, if not your mind. I mean, you are thinking, so it's you. But it doesn't have to be that way. You are the one who is aware of those thoughts. So you can sit on that chair and watch those thoughts. For example, if you wake up in the morning, early in the morning, and you're tired, so you have a thought, maybe I should sleep for another half hour, an hour. And then another thought comes in and says, but you need to take care of A, B, and C. You have to get out. So which one is you? So I once asked a kid, these two thoughts that you have in the morning, which one is you? He says, usually the one that wins is me. So yeah, if you have contradicting thoughts, it's not that you are your thoughts. We have thoughts, and our thoughts are based on our experiences, on previous ideas. They're based on that. Now, if we're going to look back and look at ourselves based on our experience, based on beliefs, based on our thoughts, that we look at ourselves in a certain way. So that means your future life is going to be based on your past. But what we're trying to do is to detach, stop that. And when we want to change certain things, we want to change of things that we had in the past and do things different. And for that, we need to change the way we think. So when you wake up in the morning, and usually you have a thought pattern that takes you to your regular routine day, and at the end of the day, you're doing the same thing over and over, we need to wake up and change that pattern. And the secret over here is that it's possible. it is possible to change our thoughts once we become aware of them, and then take it to where we want. We can set intentions and start looking forward for things that we want to grow. So what do you do when you have thoughts? So number one, you should just know that thoughts are just thoughts. You don't have to act upon those thoughts. And if you've done the practice that we discussed, to sit quiet and those thoughts come up, usually the thoughts tell you you're busy, you have to go on, you have to keep on being busy. So that's a thought, and we're so used to taking action based on that thought. So number one is thoughts are just thoughts. That's it. It's just a thought. And then you're free to let the thought go, because they no longer reflect the reality or truth. It doesn't have to mean that it's you or you have to do it. Become aware of the thoughts and let it go. Like we've discussed in the past. You let it in. We've discussed it in emotions, but understand that the way you feel comes from a thought. So let in that thought, let in that feeling. It doesn't mean anything. You're going to start saying, wait a second, if I feel this way, that must be ... No judgment, just become aware of it, let it in, feel it, and then you can let it go. So the goal is not to prevent yourself from having thoughts or feelings or sensations during that we're doing the mindfulness practice. The goal is to notice the distractions that arise and then to gently turn your attention back to your breath. So you can use your breath or you can write them down. It's just something to anchor to something. So you sit down and you just become aware of your breath. It's a good idea to just become relaxed, do some relaxation techniques, deep breaths. Once you feel a little bit relaxed, you just observe and you become aware of thoughts, of sensations, of feelings, and just look at it as if you're observing, and it has nothing to do with you. You don't have to react. If it's something you do have to do, you'll do it soon. Now you're just observing. So this is two ways how we look at thoughts. So let's say a person thinks about himself that they're a loser. So the thought is, I am a loser. Or it doesn't mean that you're always thinking you're a loser. In certain places, you might think it's not for me because it's something I can't do. All of the negative beliefs. So here we have person A and person B. Person A lives it. He sees the thought. It takes over his entire visual perception field. That means he sees it, he feels it, he is it, he lives it. Now you're going to tell him, what are you talking about? Why are you so negative? He's not going to be able to hear anything because that's the truth, the way he looks at himself. However, we have person B over here, who you can put the thought, I am a loser, on the table. Right? Person B has some distance from this thought. He can notice this thought, but also he can see the sun setting and flowers on the side. And then, yes, there is a thought, but that's not him, not so close to him. He sees it. You see a lot of things around you. One of them is a thought. So what I say is, like, he sees it on the table. Put the thought on the table and look at it. There's a lot of things going on. One of them is the thought. So this is the difference between seeing your world through the lenses of that thought, or noticing the thought and feeling, but I can notice other things also. I don't have to live and feel and as if this is the truth. So it's easy to get caught up in our thoughts and emotions. They often have sticky quality. It's a good way of calling it than we think it's ourselves. that allows us to easily become entangled in these content and texture. So here to give some examples when you are going to do this exercise, you see which one comes up for you when you do have these negative thoughts. Sometimes we have worry and fear. So the thought is, what if there is something wrong with me? So you have all these negative thoughts and you start thinking, I don't know what Menachem is talking about. It's very nice what he says, but at the end of the day, by me, there's so much negativity, so much negative thoughts. Maybe there's something wrong with me. Or you can feel anger. I'm working on this for a while. I'm trying so hard. Why can't I just have a moment, peace, without thinking about something? There's something going on in your life and you're trying to do these exercises. You don't want to think about it. So the anger can come up. Or depression. I guess it's not for me. I've tried and tried. I'm always tense, always nervous. I'm never going to feel relaxed. So that's giving up. Or hopelessness. So the other one is depression. And then we have hopelessness. I give up. It's just too hard. I can't. I've tried and I just can't. So this is, the next line is the important one that we discussed. Trying to not think about our thoughts and trying not to feel our feelings, it only amplifies their value. So we think, let's just suppress. Let me try not to think about it. Let me be busy with my phone. Let me be busy with all the things that I have to do, my routine, because that's why I'm happy to have routine. I'm busy all day. I have things to do, Baruch Hashem. But in a way, it could be taking you away from certain thoughts and emotions, and it's just keeping you going day after day, just doing the same thing, being the same person, and change is hard because you want to suppress. But what happens is when you suppress, it becomes louder. While paying attention to the thought and feelings helps to separate who we are from our thoughts and feelings and what they tell us. So what we're trying to do is become aware of them, put them on the table. Let's see it. It might not be so comfortable, but don't hide it, because hiding is just, it controls your life. Subconsciously, you're not aware of it. What you want to do is open it up, put it on the table, become aware of these thoughts, and then eventually you can let it go. It is remarkable how liberating it feels to be able to see that your thoughts are just thoughts and they are not you or your reality. The simple act of recognizing your thoughts as thoughts can free you from the distorted reality they often create and allow for more clear sightness and greater sense of manageability in your life. So once you become aware of this idea, we don't realize how much our thoughts control our thoughts, our emotions, the subconscious. Most of our thoughts and emotions are subconscious. We don't realize how much they control our life and why we want to do certain things. We want to start maybe something new or do something different. And for some reason, we gave up already. We've tried, we want, but it's not happening. Who is the driver here? Who's in control? We don't realize that it's our thoughts and feelings. But once we become aware of them, and we don't have to act upon what we think and feel, that's step number one. Once we become aware and we can detach ourselves, it can liberate and give us new opportunities. So what we need to do is just to become an observer and start practicing just for a little bit of your day, just to sit and become aware of those thoughts. Most thoughts are subconscious, and it's like lighting a match in a dark place, a place where we don't want to go, and we usually distract ourselves because we don't like to see what's there. If you put on the lights, we might see dark things we don't want to see, and it does become uncomfortable. And that's why we do distract ourselves. And you'll see that you want to run away in the beginning from doing these ideas. But what we need to do is just notice the thought. Notice the feelings or the sensations and gently redirect your attention back to the present moment. Just come right back to your seat, whether it's focusing on your breath. Breathe in and breathe out. Continue breathing for a few minutes and just watch your thoughts going to this idea, that idea. I need to take care of this. What's going to be with that? Why am I sitting here? What am I doing? Just look at them. Allow whatever it is that comes up. Don't try to change or to fight or to push. Just let it come in. Observe as if you're sitting and watching a show. So you can put those feelings, or you can even look at yourself on stage. You're sitting in the audience, and imagine you're on stage sitting there and you're watching as thoughts come in and thoughts come out, go out, all of these thoughts. Just watch. And remember, without judgment, because there's no right and wrong. If this is what you feel, and this is a thought, then it just is. And look at it. Don't take ownership. It's not like as if you have to do something about it now. Nothing. Just look at it and let it go. You let it flow. Imagine you're sitting by a stream. Beautiful weather. You can actually do it. Imagine that you're sitting there relaxed, and you see the streams and there's leaves floating down the stream. Every time you have a thought, you put it onto a leaf and you watch the leaf just going down the stream. The next thought, put it on and let it watch how it just goes, it floats by. And the next thoughts. And this is how you practice just for a few minutes. So here we go. To finish and end up for tonight is just find some time in your day. You can start with really for a very short time. It can be for 2 minutes. Do some relaxation techniques before. Take a few deep breaths so you're relaxed. So it's easier for you to sit even for 2 minutes, because it could be a challenge to stop everything and just sit. So relax and then just observe. Do these ideas, see what comes up. Many people tell me they're blank. There's nothing comes up. So that's good. That's another thought that you're just having. Nothing comes up. Beautiful. And just stay there. I don't feel anything. That's a thought. I don't feel anything. And then you might say, okay, it's not working for me. This doesn't work. What am I looking for? That's a thought. Realize that's a thought. You stay there. That's why I said, well, if you put on a timer, it's easier. So you know you're not getting up till the timer rings. You can start with 2 minutes, put on the timer for 2 minutes and just stay there till it rings. And then see if anything comes up. If it comes up, just welcome it. And then the next one, and then the next one. You'll see all these thoughts come up. That's how slowly we connect with subconscious, with our thoughts. And it's not us. We are the ones observing the thought, so that eventually we can realize that sometimes there's a lot of negative thoughts, and we can bring in some positivity, some gratitude, just a different way of thinking, which will continue in Menachem. But for now, this is a very important practice, just to remember, we are not our thoughts. Take some time of your day to sit and observe them, as if it's nothing to do with you. So I want to thank you for coming tonight, and we will continue next week. I'm going to open it up. If you want, you can raise your hand if you want to ask a question, or please send your feedback to coachmenachem@gmail.com. Number one, with your takeaway of how you understand the idea of tonight. It could be something that you've heard in the past, or it's something new and how you understood it. And if you have any questions, please send them in, or you can ask now live. We will open it up to just raise your hand so you can ask live, or you can let me know in the chat. Any feedback that you have, just send them in the chat. That goes directly to me. And thank you very much. Yes, thank you for the feedback. some people do get anxious, and not some, many. Well, while doing this for the first few times, there is a reason why we don't want to do this. And we've discussed it in the past. There's negativity, things that we don't want to see. So be ready for feeling anxious. Exactly, that's what's going to come up. But again, it's a thought that you have. So try to detach. What if most of your thoughts are about other people? Become aware of that too. That's another thought. So you sit down and you'll see your mind going all over the place about other people, how other people come up in your mind, and how much of your life is controlled or has to do about other people. Might be negative, might be positive. Become aware of that. Very good question. How do you know if it's a thought you need to act on? It might be a thought you need to act on, but not now. It doesn't have to happen now. And if it's an emergency, then stop. Don't sit there. Do what you need to do. But when you do have time to relax and take some time off for yourself and close your phone, you're going to take off 2 or 5 or 10 minutes. You don't need to act in the moment. You just want to become aware. Writing down will help. If a thought comes up, I need to take care of something, write it down. Yes, you'll take care of it soon. But you want to be able to detach yourself from those thoughts, to be able to see what are my thoughts. And then you're making a conscious decision. When am I going to do what I need to do? But if not, we're running around the whole day doing things, not intentionally, just whatever comes up. It might be an email if things come up and this and that. And we don't realize that there's something inside of us telling us, do this, don't do that. Now you have to do this, don't do that. Are you the one who's deciding, or your thoughts are controlling? So if you can detach yourself from the thoughts, and when the thought comes up and says, do it, you say, yes, thank you. I will do it, but now I have time for myself. And you put it on the leaf and let it go. Next thought. Another thought comes up, put it on the leaf and let it go. In the beginning, it might be hard. Eventually, practice. We're not looking for perfect, just practice and see what comes up. See what comes up. And you can practice doing some relaxation techniques before, because it's easier that way. It's sometimes very hard to sit down from running your routine to a quiet place and just sitting there, because your body is running, your subconscious, like we said, the body, the mind, the subconscious mind is running around telling you what to do. And now you're sitting down, you're not listening. It might be hard. Do some deep breathing, relax, and then put on the timer for a few minutes so you know this is my time and I'm not getting up till it rings, and observe. You can even smile when these ideas come up. It might be a negative one. Give a smile and put it on a leaf and let it go. So thank you very much. The recording will be available on Mitzvah Hashem on MenachemBernfeld.com. On the top left, where I have the recordings of the Wednesday nights, and I hope to see you next week, Wednesday night. Thank you.